You know that feeling, right? You really want to learn something new, maybe a language, but it just feels like this huge mountain to climb. So much time, so much effort.
Yeah, it can definitely seem daunting, especially languages. But what if that whole idea is kind of wrong? What if fluency doesn't have to take years?
Exactly. That's what we're diving into today. We're looking at rapid language learning, and specifically, we're digging into this really interesting TEDx talk by Chris Lonsdale.
Ah, Lonsdale. Yeah, his own story is pretty compelling, isn't it?
It really is. So back in the early 80s, he decides he's going to learn Mandarin Chinese. You know, a language most people think is super tough, especially for Westerners.
Right. And the kicker?
He gets fluent, properly fluent, in 6 months.
6 months. It's wild. And what's cool is that he wasn't just winging it. He was consciously applying ideas from psychology to how he learned.
Mm-hmm. And that experience led him to ask this question that's, well, super relevant for you listening. How can a regular adult actually learn a new language fast, easily, and, effectively? What's really going on there?
What are the principles?
Yeah.
That's the core of it.
That's exactly what we want to unpack today. We're going to break down Lonsdale's main principles and the sort of actionable steps he talks about.
The idea is to give you a potential roadmap, really, based on his framework, for hitting fluency, maybe even in 6 months.
So yeah, if you've ever dreamed of chatting away in another language, you're going to want to stick around for this. Let's jump in.
Okay, so first up, let's maybe bust a couple of big myths that hang around language learning. The first one, that you need like a special talent for it. Some people are just good at languages, others aren't.
Oh yeah, the talent myth. It's huge. Lonsdale talks about this woman, Zoe, right? Australian, trying to learn Dutch, really struggling. People telling her, you're just not cut out for it.
Mm-hmm. Happens all the time.
But then she changes her whole approach, moves to Brazil, uses the kinds of principles we're going to talk about, and boom, fluent Portuguese. 6 months.
So much for not being cut out for it, eh?
Exactly. It kind of blows up that whole talent idea. It really suggests your method, your approach is way more important than some kind of, innate gift.
Totally. Her story points right to strategy over supposed talent. Okay, myth number 2, immersion. Just drop yourself in the country, surround yourself with the language, and you'll magically absorb it.
Right, the soak it up theory. Mm-hmm. But Lonsdale points out, think about all the expats who live somewhere for years.
Yeah, Westerners in Hong Kong for 10 years, still barely speaking Cantonese, or, folks living in the US or UK for ages with limited English.
So just being there isn't enough. Why not? What's missing if immersion alone doesn't guarantee fluency?
Well, think about it. Passive listening isn't active learning. Lonsdale uses this great analogy. He says, a drowning man cannot learn to swim.
Ooh, that's vivid.
Yeah. If you're a total beginner, just being bombarded with fast adult conversation you don't understand, it's just noise. It's more likely to make you panic and shut down than actually learn anything. It's overwhelming.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. You're just trying to stay afloat, not analyze sentence structure. So if talent isn't the key, and just being there isn't the key, what are the keys? What are Lonsdale's principles for doing it fast?
Okay, so he lays out 5 core principles. The first one is all about focusing on language content that actually matters to you. It connects attention, meaning, relevance, and memory.
Right. He has that forest walk analogy, doesn't he?
He does. So imagine you're walking in the woods. You see some scratches on a tree. Maybe you notice, maybe not.
Okay.
Then you see some tracks. Okay, a bit more interesting. Your attention perks up, but then you see, fresh bear poop right on the path.
Ooh. Okay, suddenly I'm very interested.
Exactly. Because it has immediate meaning and relevance to your survival, right? Your brain locks onto that. It prioritizes it. Language learning, he argues, works the same way.
Okay. So you need to focus on the stuff that connects to your goals, your needs, your interests, stuff that feels relevant.
Precisely. Your brain pays attention to things it thinks are important for you. So make the language relevant. Make it meaningful to your life, and you'll learn it faster.
So forget the generic vocabulary lists about, types of farm animals, unless you're planning to be a farmer.
Right. Focus on the words and phrases you actually need for your conversations, your work, your hobbies.
It's like needing a tool for a job. You learn how to use that tool really fast when you need it. He tells that story about his colleague trying to learn Chinese typing.
Oh, yeah, the typing story. She went to night school for ages, got nowhere.
Right. But then, work crisis. Needed to produce a manual in Chinese yesterday.
In 48 hours, I think.
Yeah. And suddenly under pressure because it was intensely relevant and urgent, she figured it out. Learned to type Chinese super fast.
So relevance just cranked up the learning speed. which leads perfectly into the second principle.
Okay, what's number 2?
Use your new language as a tool to communicate, right from day one. Don't just study it passively. Use it.
Actively try to get your meaning across, even if it's clunky at first.
Exactly. Think about little kids. They don't wait till they have perfect grammar. They use the few words they have to ask for things, to point, to communicate now.
Mm-hmm. He talks about being on that train in China, right? Super early in his learning.
Yeah, like his second week. And he has this whole conversation with a train guard, even though he barely knows any Mandarin.
Oh.
Gestures, drawing on the window, expressions. They just kind of figured it out, made it work. But the really cool part was later.
Yeah.
Weeks later, he started realizing he was understanding bits of Chinese around him. Stuff he hadn't explicitly studied. It was like the act of trying to communicate, even badly, had opened up pathways in his brain. Unconscious absorption.
Wow. Okay. So using it primes the pump, kinda.
You could say that.
Yeah.
And that connects directly to principle number 3. When you first understand the message, you will acquire the language unconsciously.
Understand the message, not necessarily every single word.
Right. This is the whole idea of comprehensible input. There's a linguist, Stephen Krashen, who researched this a lot. His work basically showed that understanding input listening and reading you comprehend is way more effective than just drilling grammar rules.
So it's less about memorizing facts and more like training.
Exactly. Lonsdale frames it as physiological training, more than just knowledge accumulation. When you genuinely grasp what someone's saying to you, even if you don't know all the words, your brain just starts soaking up the patterns unconsciously.
He gives that example of the Taiwanese woman, right? Graded English exams.
Yeah, aced all the tests, knew all the grammar,
Yeah.
got to the U.S. and couldn't understand people speaking. She was, as he put it, English deaf.
Why?
Our brains filter sounds we're tuned to our native language. Unfamiliar sounds in a new language often just get filtered out as noise initially. So you literally have to train your ears to even hear the new sounds properly. It's physical.
And speaking is physical too, right? The muscles.
Totally. We've got something like 43 muscles in the face. You need to coordinate them in new ways to make new sounds.
Yeah.
He even jokes that if your face aches a bit after trying new pronunciations,
You're probably doing it right.
yeah, like muscle soreness after a new workout, you're using muscles in a new way.
Okay, so we've got focus on relevance, use it as a tool from day one, and get comprehensible input. Principle number 4.
Your state matters. Your psychophysiological state. Basically, how you feel has a massive impact on learning.
Meaning?
If you're stressed, anxious, worried, sad, angry, learning gets really, really hard. Your brain just isn't receptive.
Yeah, try concentrating on anything when you're upset. It's impossible.
Right. So Lonsdale emphasizes being in a state that's like happy, relaxed, curious. He calls it an alpha brain state, that calm, focused, absorbed state. That's when you learn fastest.
Okay, so chill out, be curious. What else?
And crucially, tolerate ambiguity. You have to be okay with not understanding every single word, especially at the start.
Don't get frustrated by the gaps.
Exactly. If you obsess over every unknown word, you'll just get stressed, which shuts down learning. Focus on the overall meaning. Be comfortable with a bit of fuzziness.
Gotcha. And the 5th principle, it feels like it connects to the others.
It does. It's basically reiterating that language learning is not primarily about accumulating vast amounts of knowledge like memorizing a dictionary.
It's more about the understanding, the application, the training we talked about.
Precisely. Shift the focus from rote memorization to comprehension and active use. So those are the 5 big ideas.
Okay, 5 principles. Makes sense. But how do you, do that? What are the practical actions?
Right, so he offers 7 actions. Action number 1, listen. A lot. He calls it brain soaking.
Brain soaking.
Yeah, just immerse yourself in the sounds of the language. Even if you don't understand much at first, just listen to the rhythm, the melody, the patterns. Get your brain used to it. There's a Chinese term, pao inozi, which literally means soak your brain.
Okay, absorb the sounds. Action 2.
Get the meaning first, even before the words. Remember, a huge chunk of communication is nonverbal.
Body language, context, tone.
All of that. Use those clues to figure out the gist. Plus, sometimes there are overlaps between languages you can leverage. He mentioned Mandarin, Cantonese, Vietnamese having some shared roots that help.
Use all available clues. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Action 3.
Start mixing. Start creating with the language right away. Don't wait.
Mixing, like combining words.
Yeah. Even with a tiny vocabulary, say you learn 10 basic verbs, 10 common nouns, 10 useful adjectives, you can already combine those in like 1,000 different ways.
Wow, okay. Like kids do me want juice. Simple, but it works.
Exactly. Focus on the high-frequency stuff first. In most languages, the most common Bosnian words cover something like 85% of daily chat. Get to 3,000 words and you're potentially covering like 98%.
So prioritize the essentials. What does that look like week by week, maybe?
Well, week 1, he suggests learning your tool words in the target language. How do you say, I don't understand, please repeat, that kind of thing.
Okay, tools first. Week 2.
Simple pronouns. Me, you, this, that. Common nouns. Water, food, man, woman. Basic verbs. Give, go, eat. Maybe some core adjectives. Hot, cold, big, small.
Got it. Build the basic blocks. Then,
Weeks 3 and 4, start adding the glue words, conjunctions like and, but, so, because, although, stuff that connects your basic blocks into more complex ideas.
okay, practical steps. Action 4.
Get a language parent.
A language parent, like find someone to adopt me.
Not quite. It's someone who acts like a good parent does with a child learning to talk. Someone who works hard to understand you, even with your mistakes.
Okay, patient.
Very patient. And crucially, they don't correct your mistakes constantly. That just kills confidence.
Right. So what do?
They give you feedback on whether they understood you, they confirm the meaning, and they try hard to use words you already know. Create a safe space for you to try, basically.
A comprehensible input bubble.
Pretty much. And he adds a little warning. Usually, your spouse is not the best choice for this role.
Noted. Okay, action 5.
Copy the face. Remember the physical part? The muscles.
Yeah.
You need to train those muscles. So watch native speakers. Watch how their mouths move. Observe their jaw, lips, tongue. Try to mimic those movements.
So it's visual and physical feedback.
Yeah, there's a feedback loop. You hear the sound, you see how it's made, you feel it in your own face when you try it. There are resources online too. Videos showing mouth positions for sounds.
Right. Mimicry. Makes sense. Action 6.
Use direct connect. This one's really important for efficiency.
Direct connect. What's that?
It means avoiding the habit of constantly translating back and forth in your head between your native language and the target language.
Oh, that's exhausting and slow.
Totally. Instead, try to directly link the new sound in the target language to the image or feeling or concept it represents in your mind.
So if I learn the word for fire in French, feu, I should try to connect feu directly to the image and feeling of fire, not just translate feu means fire.
Exactly. Think of it like you have a mental box for the concept of fire. Instead of going from feu to fire to the box, you create a new path directly from feu to that box.
Same box, different path.
You got it. With practice, that direct connection becomes automatic, unconscious.
Yeah.
Much faster.
Okay, that's powerful. And the final action, number 7.
Well, number 7 is basically do it. Put all these things together, these principles, these actions, they're all things you can control as a learner.
It's not magic, it's strategy.
Right. Lonsdale's whole argument is that if you apply these things consistently, getting functionally fluent in 6 months, it's actually achievable for a motivated adult.
Wow. Okay, so just to quickly recap the core idea.
Yeah.
It's not about waiting for talent or just hoping immersion works.
Nope. It's about being strategic. Focus on relevance, use the language actively, make sure you understand the input, keep a positive mindset.
And then take concrete actions. Listen loads, focus on meaning, speak early, find a supportive parent, copy pronunciation physically, and build those direct mental links.
That's the framework in a nutshell.
It really makes you think differently about learning, doesn't it? Not just languages, maybe other skills too. Which of those ideas really jumps out at you listening? How could you maybe use some of this?
Yeah, and it leaves you with a pretty provocative thought, I think. If we can genuinely change how we tackle something like language, which seems so complex and gets such fast results, well, what other things in our lives, what other limits that we think are fixed could we maybe overcome with the right kind of focus principle-based approach?
That's definitely something to chew on. What else could we learn faster or better if we just change the strategy? Good question to end on.